Hi, and welcome back to the Rockbridge Report's continuing coverage of the 2011 election. I'm Ann Vasilis.
And I'm Brooke Sutherland.
Well, here are the latest results. In the State Senate 25th District race, we have Senator Creigh Deeds with over 60% of the vote, and we have incumbent Aldis, we have challenger Aldis with almost 30% of the vote. Coming up in the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office, we have Blaylock with 75% of the vote, Clark with 4% of the vote, and Reynolds with 20% of the vote. We'll be back later to let you know more results as they come in. Earlier this evening, Rockbridge reporter Billy Crosby went out to the polls and kind of found out what was going on. And he's here now. He is bringing its package to talk about what's happening in Buena Vista.
A town like this, you know everybody. He wants to be mayor, and I want to be mayor. We were friends before we started, and however it turns out, we'll be friends when it's over.
I just run again in 2 years. I made my signs.
Can someone tell me what I'm supposed to be doing right now?
We'll run again in 2 years. See what happens.
Well, I've still got 2 more years on city council anyhow, so if I don't win mayor, I've still got 2 more years to serve.
I'll start working with the council members, and I'll start attending
whatever.
several council meetings and getting the
I know,
feel
that's
for
okay.
everything.
Just go to 11. It's better when you get there. When we come back, reporter Morgan Holt will join us from Salerno's Restaurant to give us some feedback on the local Republican candidates. Hi, and welcome back to Election Night 2011. Republican candidates in 4 local races are congregating at Salerno Restaurant right now. Rockbridge Report's own Morgan Holt is at the election party to get some feedback. Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan Holt, and I'm here at Salerno for the Republican Party. Joining me tonight is Mr. Ben Klein, who just won the Virginia House of Delegates. Mr. Klein, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be with you. It's a great night.
Yes, sir. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling very pleased to have been elected to another 2-year term and look forward to going to work for the people of Rockbridge County again.
And are there any big changes or issues that you'd like to address over your next term?
Well, I've been fighting since I got elected 10 years ago to lower taxes, to reduce the size and scope of government,
Right there.
promote personal responsibility. So I'm going to continue to do that. We're waiting to see whether we have a majority in the Virginia Senate, whether we'll have partners across the way to help us to achieve those goals.
And how would you describe the overall mood here tonight at Salerno?
I think it's mixed. We had some candidates who came very close tonight and didn't quite get elected locally, and others who have won their races. So it's a mixed night for local Republicans, but on the whole, I think voters are picking Republicans over Democrats by a wide margin statewide.
And what would you like to say to voters out there in Washington tonight?
Well, if voters entrust Republicans with their votes, they will deliver in Richmond and hopefully in Washington with lower taxes, less government, and hopefully deliver for the people of their district, their state, and their nation.
Perfect. All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to say tonight?
No, thank you all for joining us. Very glad this was successful.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Back to you.
Thank you.
Advocate editor Doug Harwood to discuss Rockbridge County races. Welcome back. I'm here with Rockbridge Advocate editor Doug Harwood. Thanks for joining us, Doug.
Well, you're entirely welcome.
Let's talk first about the battle between Bucky Joyce and Josh Elwood for Commonwealth Attorney. This is the first contested election that Joyce has faced since he first took office in 2004. Do you think there's a chance he might be ousted?
No.
And why is that?
You know, it's hard to beat an incumbent and in a Commonwealth attorney's race, unless there's some high-profile murder trial that they blow, you know, or some outrage, then people don't really have, they need to be given a really strong reason to vote against them, and without some drama, you know, there really isn't that kind of a strong reason. And, you know, Bucky's had years and years to get his name in the paper and get himself pretty well known, and, you know, Josh has not defended a whole lot of high-profile cases. You won't find him in the papers every week defending somebody or other, and so it just, you know, in terms of his reputation as an attorney, it never, you know, he had to develop all that by himself out on the campaign trail. He didn't have the help of a lot of advanced publicity.
Well, Joyce is leading the race pretty significantly right now. Last time we checked, he had more than 60% of the votes. If he is reelected, do we think we're going to see any changes in the way he handles things here?
No. And why would there be? If you win with 60% of the vote, that's the voters are saying we're pretty happy with you.
Well, if we turn now to the race for Rockbridge County Sheriff, Robert Day is stepping down after nearly 20 years at the helm of Rockbridge County law enforcement. Chris Blaylock, who's the only member of the Sheriff's Office currently in the race, is leading. Do you think the other candidates, Roger Clark and Vernon Reynolds, had a chance, or is this another case of the tried and true holding out?
Well, I don't think Roger had a chance. You know, Roger has spent his career in Lexington, which doesn't help him in the county any. And in Lexington, most of the time he was, how he really built his reputation was being the pooch catcher and the parking king. And marking tires and handing out parking tickets is not a good way to make yourself popular anywhere. You know, and the whole thrust of his campaign was basically, I'm a terrific bureaucrat and I'm going to get the county sheriff's department accredited. In most people's minds, an accredited police department or sheriff's department doesn't mean a whole lot. They want to know when they pick up the phone and call 911 that somebody's going to show up sooner or later. In Vernon's case, he certainly thought he had a chance. He worked for the sheriff's department years ago, before Bobby Day was elected. And Vernon had the backing of the Republican Party, which his daughter, I believe, is the treasurer of the local Republicans, but that's neither here nor there. And a lot of folks who pay attention to politics around here more than I do would say, well, most of the people who move in here from somewhere else, the first thing they do is register to vote. And most of the folks who move in here are pretty conservative and are probably going to vote Republican. And so the local Republican Party has had a pretty big, you know, 20 years, 30 years ago, it was all but dead. And it's had this huge resurgence in recent years. And there, if you go to a Republican Party function, there'll be more people there than at a Democratic Party function around here. And, you know, it would be safe to assume that if you had the Republican Party nomination, then you'd think, well, I'm going to get a lot of newcomer votes, and maybe some people remember me from the old days. And Vernon has a big family, and he's connected to an awful lot of people, and he's one of the leaders in the local weekday religious education programs. And Rockbridge County is, you know, a pretty religious place and a very conservative place, and that program, as well, it's had its share of controversy over the years, just its existence. You know, it's here to stay, and it's got an awful lot of popular support. And Vernon came out early. He was, you know, the first candidate to sort of make a splash. And so I'm sure he was in it to win. But he had an awful lot of baggage. And people who were here, you know, back before Bobby Day was sheriff, when Vernon was working for the sheriff's department, a lot of people remember it was constant drama, which was great for the news business. It was great for the defense lawyer business, but it was, you know, most people don't want a sheriff's department that's full of drama. They just want people who are going to quietly answer the calls and do their business and be done with it. And Vernon had gotten some, some unflattering press, and that certainly, the controversy around just him and the way he is wouldn't have helped him get a lot of votes.
All right. Now, if we're still waiting on results for the Buena Vista mayor election, but finance is the big question here. Is there anything out of these two candidates? What's their stance on those policies?
Well, finance is and it isn't. You know, Buena Vista's got some huge financial troubles, but it's looming off in the distance. But it managed to squeak by in terms of this, defaulting on its golf course loans. And it
okay.
wasn't...
Well, we are actually out of time right now. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we will be back soon with more results. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us, Doug.
You're entirely welcome. Thank you.
Results from the polls. Check out the race for mayor in Buena Vista and get reactions from the Republicans at Salerno's restaurant.